Warnings are posted from Boca Raton to Daytona Beach as Tropical Storm Nicole gains strength. Mike Bettis is tracking Nicole for us at the Weather Channel. Hey there, Mike.
Nora, good evening. We know that Nicole's on a collision course with Florida. It's a tropical system now, has a much better presentation on satellite. Winds have increased throughout the day, and it's likely to intensify before landfall late Wednesday into Thursday. Hurricane warnings in effect here, as well as tropical storm warnings and tropical storm watches across Florida that extend up into Georgia. The track has remained pretty consistent, likely to be a Category 1 hurricane at landfall.
The Mississippi River is at historically low levels, which could impact the food supply and our wallets. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee is in Osceola, Arkansas with more.
The mighty Mississippi River,
I'm along the Mississippi River bank because it's at a historic low,
is the measly Mississippi.
Where I'm standing normally is underwater.
Within the last month, at least 5 river gauges bottoming out to the lowest level since records began as early as the 1890s. A century-old shipwreck near Baton Rouge exposed.
Look what I just found. It's a Civil War belt buckle. That's insane.
Fossils and relics littering the now dry riverbed. Drought along the entire length of the Mississippi, with parched riverbed from Wisconsin to Tennessee. Thousands of people flocking to Tower Rock in Missouri by foot.
The historic low levels on the Mississippi River coming at the absolute worst time for farmers. The heart of harvest. See that huge pile of soybeans behind me? It was supposed to make it downriver 3 weeks ago.
The Mississippi is the main route for America's breadbasket to the world, responsible for $400 billion in industry and 1.3 million jobs.
This is the backbone of America. We move all of our products up and down this river. It's the product that feeds the world, builds the world, and powers the world.
Jonathan Dunn works for one of the nation's largest barge operators.
Normally, we would be running about 46 to 40 barges on our large horsepower boats, and now we're running 25 barges on those boats. So there is a drastic reduction.
When the price to ship goes up, the value of the goods go down.
The prices dropped pretty drastically due to increased freight on the river.
So that's got to show up in prices somewhere for us?
I think eventually it will. It's, it's going to trickle down to everyone.
Now, there's a reason that America still uses barges to transport everything from the soybeans that you see being put in the barge behind me to corn, oil, fertilizer, you name it. We do it because this is cheaper.
One
do we need?
We need months of normal rainfall to recharge the soil and the river systems.
Unfortunately, as I'm standing here in this dry riverbed of a water harbor off the Mississippi, this isn't the only dry riverbed in the region. The Missouri, the Ohio have drought. And all of the barges that you see behind me, that's the real issue, is that they need the water now. They actually needed it a month ago. And unfortunately, those prices are going to keep going up. And the forecast, we have the forecast here for the next 3 months, does not favor any extra rain or above average rain. We're in a triple dip La Nina that does not lend itself to rain in this region. You mostly need it in the Missouri River Valley and the northern Mississippi, and it's not looking like it would happen that quickly. So this could be a problem, Diane, all the way through winter.
And Ginger, the low river levels making it hard for the barges to get downriver. I mean, that's a big enough impact in and of itself, but it goes wider than that. Can you walk us through this domino effect?
Right, so you can see maybe the grain elevator there. It's kind of putting the soybeans into one of the barges. This has been delayed by 3-4 weeks in a lot of places. So the prices of corn, for example, more than doubled to ship. When the shipping prices go up, it costs more for all these barges to be sitting here and not delivering their goods. One of the large barge companies, one that we did not speak to, actually canceled all their contracts for the year. That means they just said, we're throwing our hands up, we can't do it. You know, the Army Corps of Engineers is spot checking and trying, these barges are kind of beaching themselves on sandbars that show up. They can't do that fast enough either to dredge to allow these to go through. So it is going to cost farmers first and then eventually us. The soybeans, for example, some of the soy goes into livestock feed. That means meat prices could be impacted.
So, Ginger, what does that mean for consumers when they head to the grocery store?
Right, so by next year, you may see those impacts because these barges not only have to get downriver, they have to get to New Orleans. And then economically, a lot of times after that, we export a ton of what comes from the Mississippi overseas. When you start talking about supply chain changes, which we've already seen the domino effect of that after COVID, this could be a years-long process to get out of. Unfortunately, one of the largest and costliest natural disasters was a drought on the Mississippi River in 1988. It cost $50 billion. We do not want to get there.
All right, no, we sure don't. Ginger Zee, thanks for that.
Biden says the U.S. will once again tap into the country's oil reserves in an effort to help lower fuel prices. The move comes as gas prices have spiked back up in recent weeks. AAA says the national average is now $3.83, which is actually down from last week, but it's still up about 16 cents from last month after more than 3 months of declining. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News White House reporter Lauren Egan. Lauren, good morning to you. So OPEC announced earlier this month that it would actually cut oil production by 2 million barrels a day. President Biden criticized that decision, calling it short-sighted. So talk to us about the president's decision to dip into the oil reserve again. What's the strategy here?
Drill somewhere else. This way, you're going to increase your fossil fuel dependency. In United States, people drive massive SUVs, diesel trucks. Everyone in a single house has their own separate vehicle, simply because gas was cheap once upon a time. Just fill it up and keep roaming. Look at the fuel prices today in the United States. After pandemic, everywhere in the world the prices have gone up, but the US society has enjoyed the benefit of cheap oil for a very long time. Now many can't even afford to drive a car. Transportation cost has also gone up because of increase in fuel price. That is the reason Joe Biden went to Saudi Arabia. Even Saudi Arabia is aware of all this situation, even they are educated. Even they have happily and politely said no. If you want, you increase your own oil production.
3 potentially serious viruses are filling hospital beds across the country with both children and adults.
States are already seeing extremely high numbers of people with the flu and a respiratory virus known as RSV. And many doctors believe COVID cases are also likely to start rising again. CBN's medical reporter.
The drying up of the Euphrates River and the appearance of the Golden Mountain in Congo are often associated with signs of the end times. The Euphrates River and the Golden Mountain that shocked the world gave a signal that the apocalypse was near.
But now the river is only visible from a distance. The crops have been destroyed due to the lack of irrigation.
The Euphrates is the longest and one of the most historically important rivers of Western Asia, on which the various lives of the ancients depended heavily on this river. Now, the drying up of the Euphrates River is not just a prophecy, but it is actually happening today. Along with the drying up of the Euphrates River, many ancient discoveries have emerged, and even these discoveries have shocked the world. Recently, a video showed a man showing a drop in the water level of the Euphrates River which fell drastically. Only in the last few years the river water was almost completely drying up. In addition, the man also showed an ancient tunnel that leads to the underground with a very perfect building structure, and even has stairs that are neatly arranged and are still intact to this day. But what is surprising is who built all of this. Some say that this is a relic of ancient people that is still preserved today. However, there is a rumor among the locals that the tunnel leads to where the angels are imprisoned. As mentioned in the Bible, to be precise, in Revelation 9 verse 14. Saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Look at this ancient tunnel, it looks really scary. In my opinion, there must be something terrible still hidden